The big question now is, who doesn't have a partner? Oh, and you don't... Actually, anybody else over here? Okay, all the people that don't have partners, come over here. And then you can talk to each other. The singles bar. And we don't even have a bar. You got to have your mask, because this is all about dancing in the dark.
Oh, Bruce Springsteen.
Okay. So, here we go. Face your partner. Put on your mask. And this dancing is very sensual, as you're going to see. It's just dancing in darkness is sensual, moving, but you'll see it's beautiful. Okay, face your partner, and now we got to be quiet. I know that's the hardest part. Oh, one other thing. There's always one other thing. I got to show you something. When you start each dance, because I don't want to get into this when we actually start the dances, you start with your hands like this. So your palms, the palms will be facing, your fingers are facing up and your palms are together. Okay, can you put them up higher? Like this, only at shoulder height. Okay? So you'll be at this height with your hands. And that's where, so every single dance we do, we start from that position, and then I'll lead you into where we go from there. But right now we're going to do 10 minutes or so of blue school work. You don't need your partner right now. You're going to do it by yourself. They'll be in front of you. But face your partner. Know where they are. Now, the next instructions are, you can't remove your mask for any reason whatsoever until this is over. There's going to be times where you're going to want to rip it off and see what's going on. No! No. You've got to leave. You've got to stay in darkness for... You're going to be in darkness for almost a half an hour here. So I want your pineal gland to start shutting down. That's partly why I'm also spending 10 minutes going to this other thing too, so that you really start getting calm inside, so you can be sensitive. Okay, here we go. Now feel the prana tube and the prana coming from above and below and meeting in your heart. And feel that sphere. And now feel the sphere of the Leonardo sphere way out, the big one. Be aware of that one. And feel the flow. Now again, take a deep breath, and when you blow it out, you might turn slightly sideways so you don't blow it into your partner's face. But blow out when you blow out, see the white mist coming out of your mouth. And take another breath, a deep breath, and blow out the white mist. And you see it or sense it or feel it as it's coming out. Okay. Now see and feel that the air you are breathing is connected to everyone in this room. There is only one air mass, and the air that is in your lungs is intimately connected with everyone in this room. Further see and feel that this same air that is in your lungs is connected to all life on earth that is breathing air. See and feel that you are a body in space. And know that your body is surrounded by space. How is space different than air? sense and feel that space is like water. In your imagination, sense the tips of your fingers touching space. Now sense space touching your fingertips. What is the difference? See and sense you are touching the 6 directions of space: left, right, front, back, up and down. Now sense space touching your 6 directions. What is the difference? See and sense all the extremities of your body, your nose, ears, fingers, toes, etc., becoming golden and emitting light. What is happening to your body perception? See and sense how the inner space of your body and the outer space around you interact. In your imagination, massage your right arm. Now do it physically. Okay, that's good enough. See yourself floating in a 10-foot or about a 4-meter cube made of mirrors. You can see your body from any angle. And so as you begin to move, see and sense in each moment how your body moves and changes as it moves inside this cube of mirrors. Now back to just your body in this room. Imagine yourself 2-dimensional and flat. Now imagine yourself 4-dimensional. Now back to your 3rd-dimensional body in this room. Find your center of gravity within your body. How do you visualize it? When you look at the center of gravity, a movement appears. What is it? Now put your feet together so they're touching. See and sense that by focusing on the center of gravity, small corrective movements occur in the body. Describe those movements to yourself. Now put your feet shoulder distance apart. Now see and sense and imagine a plumb line from your center of gravity, which is like a string with a heavy point on it, so it finds straight down. See and sense a plumb line from your center of gravity down through to the center of the earth. Now, without moving your feet, move around in small circles with the sense that you are connected to the center of the earth by this plumb line. And feel this connection to Mother Earth. In your imagination, look at your nails and see their transparency. And remember that you were once completely transparent in your mother's womb. We changed with the rhythms of time. Now find your partner, and we're going to begin the first dance. And put your hands with the fingers facing up. When you're dancing, you sense and feel the movement of your body as energy, not physical. Try to think of yourself as just pure energy. On this first dance, move your hands so only the fingertips are touching. And very, very lightly. Be aware of your prana tube and the prana coming from above and below, meeting in your heart, and that sphere, the small one that's super concentrated with the prana. Send this prana down both arms from that sphere. And so it goes down your arm, into your palm, and across the gap into your partner's arms, down to about their elbows. Now feel that connection. You've both interlinked each other with that prana. Now move your fingers apart from each other a few inches. Now feel that prana flowing between the palms of your hands and your fingers. It can be very strong. Okay, now put your fingertips back where you're just lightly touching, but don't so much touch the fingertips as feel the prana between you. This first dance, we're going to dance just, the only connection you have primarily with your partner is your fingertips and this prana. When you hear the music, go for it. Okay. Now, don't remove your mask. Keep them on. Don't take them off. Especially don't remove your mask on this next one for sure. Go back to your hands facing up. I'd like you to feel that prana going down through your arms and into your partner, and feel it coming back from them. You're mixing your prana. Feel it coming out of your palms. Now move your hands so you're not touching your partner, an inch or so away, maybe 2 inches. But feel that prana, because that's going to be the only connection you have. Feel the prana. Now, one more thing. Become aware of the space around your body. Now extend that space so it surrounds your partner. So you become like an egg-shaped, or any shape you want to make it, but the space that contains both of your bodies. Be aware of that space. In fact, become the space around your two bodies. If you can maintain the space and feel the prana, you'll dance together. If you don't, you'll end up on opposite ends of the room. And if you lose your partner, you can't cheat and find them by removing your mask. You have to make whale calls or something. Dolphin clicks. So the object is not to lose your partner, because you got to become very, very sensitive and feel them. Okay, here we go. Dance number 2. Remember to breathe. Okay. Now, see if you can find your partner. Don't look. If you've lost your partner and you don't know where they are, raise your hand. Well, so everybody has their partner. My next question is, are you sure? Well, if you switch partners, it's okay. All right, here we go for the third dance. On this one, again, start with your palms facing up. And just get the fingertips touching. Feel the prana moving down your arms and connecting with your partner. Now your body is mostly water. And so imagine that this water came out at your tummy and formed a big bubble in front of you. A huge bubble. And your partner formed a big bubble of water in front of them. And now these two bubbles of water are mixed together and connected. And so you're connected at your belly with water. And so now you're going to be water, and you're going to feel the connection at your belly with your partner. Okay? You feel the water from within your body coming out and forming a big bubble in front of you at your belly. So it's like you're pregnant. And your partner is going to make a big bubble of water, and those two bubbles the water is going to connect. You're going to connect with water. And so you're moving your connection, even though you're slightly touching your fingers. You're allowed to touch your fingertips. But the connection is at your belly with water. Feel your movement from there. Good luck. Okay, give your partner a big hug. And now you know if it's your partner or not. And you can take off your mask if you want to. Okay. Now we're going to do another experiential thing. But this one, we're going to do another experiential thing, but this time it's a little different, but it's really fun. And you can either use chairs or you can sit on the ground or you can do anything you want. I don't care. But if you want a chair, you got to go get one. And then as soon as you guys get settled down, we'll do the next experiential thing. You freed yourself of chairs. Very good. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to move your spirit from one place in the body, and we're going to move it around the body. Now, this is something that is kind of outside of most people's experience. Not everyone. I'm sure there's lots of people here that go, oh, yeah, of course. I've astral projected all across the universe. But even people who have astral projected usually haven't moved inside of their bodies very much. They usually leave their bodies and go somewhere or something of that nature, but we're going to have you moving inside of your body. We're so used to being in one place in our body that we reference everything from that. But imagine if you weren't here. Let's just say that you're up here and you're looking out through your eyes, which is kind of what most of us are used to. And suddenly you were inside the palm of your right hand. What would your body feel like? How would your body feel if you were here rather than here? I mean, if you're in a big, one of these modern hotels where they have the elevators that are on the outside and you can see, if you're in the top floor like this right now, we're up here, and you start going down, it's almost like the building going up. You change positions relative to the different rooms in that hotel and everything. You're changing position. If you go all the way to the bottom, now you're looking up at the building. If you go all the way to the top, you're looking down at it. And it's the same thing. If you move from here over to your hand, your body is going to be off center, and it's going to be way over there, and you're going to be wherever your hand is. And that's literally what happens when you move around your body. If you went down to your feet, your body would be very different than it is up here. And so we have to get used to that kind of movement. Also, we have been living, for those of you that are inside your pineal gland, you've been living inside of a cage called a skull. And it's really male. It's hard. It's constructed. It's got structure. And it feels different than if you're inside a different area of your body. As you move to different areas of your body, the sensation of being in those areas is different. So right now, I would just like to try a real simple thing, just to go from here to our throat chakra. It's not very far, it's only a little ways. But the experience is really different because this is so solid and protected. The throat is open and expanded. There's nothing protecting it. And so you don't have that. It's a different feeling. So close your eyes. And imagine that you're a little tiny sphere, very small, even smaller than a marble. A little tiny, tiny sphere. And you're up inside your head. Now feel, you know what it feels like, but feel that sensation. Kind of be aware that you're in the skull and what that feels like. And now with your intention, let go of that place and see or sense or feel yourself going down your throat and down to your throat chakra. And when you get there, stop. Now, if you were to look up from that little tiny sphere, you see your head way above you. And your body's down below you. But feel the difference of what it's like to be in your throat chakra rather than your head. It's open. It's a different feeling. So I'm just going to leave you for a moment to feel it. Okay, now let's go back. Now you have to let go of that place, of the throat chakra. You have to let go of it. Because we tend to clamp onto things. Let go of the throat. And now go back up. Feel yourself moving, going back up into the center of your head. When you get there, now feel what it feels like to be inside that skull again, which is different than your throat chakra. Only when you leave it can you feel it when you come back. Okay, open your eyes. And my first question is, who could not do that?
Imaginative when I do it.
You're just imagining.
Yeah.
But the difference between imagination and reality is so thin. It really is. Einstein said that imagination was more important than, what was the word he used? Than knowledge. And but how did Einstein achieve his knowledge? Was almost always through imagination. That's why he felt that way. He was also, when they bisected his brain afterwards, he had the largest area 39 on the right side of the brain, which is where your imagination came from, that they've ever found. Maybe they have since then, but he has a huge imagination. And just to show you this thing between imagination and knowledge, he discovered that light was affected by gravity purely through imagination. And so he wasn't a very good mathematician, a poor mathematician, but he had a fantastic imagination. He saw an elevator, and he said, well, if there's a hole in the side, a little hole, and they shined a light through it, then the light would go to the other side. But if the elevator was going up, there would be, once the light entered here, it takes time for the light to get over to the other side. And so the elevator would go up, and the light beam would strike lower. So he said that an elevator, when it goes up, increases your weight. It's like gravity. And the light beam would strike lower. So he said to himself immediately, light's affected by gravity. Using just a simple imagination thing like that. Then he took it over to a more scientific level where he said, there's going to be a solar eclipse at a certain time, and they know it would be right beside a certain star, and the light from that star would pass right by the surface of the sun. And if it was not affected by it, it would strike a photographic plate at a very specific point. But if it was affected by it, it would bend, just like it did in the elevator, and come over and strike the photographic plate at a different place. And they would then be able to prove that the light traveling from that star as it went by the sun was bent and moved over here. And that's exactly what happened. He was able to demonstrate that light is affected by gravity. And this was all generated through imagination. And really, the way the world is, of what it is just images, and images are imaging. Imagination is really, really close. And so when you imagine things going on inside of yourself, there is a very subtle differences between those two. Okay. Now I would like to do another movement inside the body, a little more distance. And I want to talk about this thing about seeing from your hands or your feet. The super psychic kids can see, they've only picked certain places. I don't know why only certain places, because it doesn't really matter that I can see. But they see with their ears. That was the first one who could see with their ears. The first Chinese kid in 1974 was able to see as well with his ears as you could see with your eyes. And then they found ones that could see underneath their eyes. They could see with their hair. They could see with their armpits. They could see with their hands. They could see with their feet. I don't know, different places. They could see with their mouth and with their tip of their tongue. And they actually can see better than these eyes because they can not only see what you see, but they can tell you anything about what they're seeing. Anything at all. Absolutely anything. And so right now, I'm going to see how many people can... we're going to do this thing, but as a side thing, we're going to see if you can see with your hands. And once you get it, and you can do it, it's yours. You'll be able to continually to get better. You can just go around a corner and stick your hand there. It's real. So what we're going to do, and I'll describe it, we're going to have you go from here to your throat. Then we're going to go from the throat down and over to the right shoulder. Then we're going to go down here through the elbow and down into the palm. When you get to the palm, I'm going to have you look at your fingers, and you're going to realize you're really little when you're doing this. You've concentrated yourself into just like a little tiny place. And you look up at your fingers, and they look huge. They look really, really big. But I want you to see them and wiggle your fingers and see them moving, which is kind of interesting when you do that. And then after you do that, you're going to be sitting there wiggling your fingers, and then I'm going to say, turn your hand to your face like this. Even though you've got your mask on and your eyes are closed, you can turn your hand to your face, and you literally turn away from the fingers and look out from there, and you can see your face. Because you see from your consciousness, and you can see anything, no matter where you are. If you're astral projecting, you can see also, and you don't have your eyes either, but you can still see. But you can see. And I'll bet you we'll get at least 30, 35 people in here that suddenly can see with their hands. And so we're going to do that. You're going to look at yourself, which is an interesting thing, for sure. And then after that, if you want, you can just stick your hand up and start looking around the room, which is kind of fun. And then we're going to bring you back up the same way you came and back up here, and then we'll talk about it. Okay? Let's go. Start your motors. Again, feel your connection to your Merkaba first, the flow, and the sphere of prana. And also, for this one, be aware of the angel that you met on the first day. Just be conscious. Feel them. Now, feel the skull around you. Be aware to how it's a containment. Now let go of that. You have to literally let go with your intention and feel yourself moving down to your throat chakra. When you get to your throat chakra, stop for just a moment and feel the openness there again for a second time. Now let go of that space, that throat chakra. Just let go of it and feel yourself moving down a little bit further and turn and go to your right and go over to your right shoulder and stop there for a moment. Now at your right shoulder, turn around and look back and feel and sense or see your body, how you're off angle, it's off to one side. Your head is a little higher, your body is off. It's a different positioning than you're usually used to. Now turn back again, and just like you're flying, look where you're going and go down your arm and feel yourself moving down your arm and down to your elbow, turning a little bit maybe, and continuing going over until you get to your wrist and then into the palm of your hand. Now look up and see your fingers, and then slowly move your fingers or wiggle them a little bit, and look and see your fingers moving. And get used to the feel of seeing your own hand, your fingers of your hand. Now put your hand up to your face, or turn it toward your face, and look at your own self. And see your face. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. But you can if you will allow yourself. And now that you're looking at yourself, realize that you can look at anything. At this moment, for those of you that can see your face, you could turn it down to a newspaper and start reading it. Or a magazine, you can actually see it. If you want to, turn your hand up and look around the room, and you can actually see around the room. You're seeing in a slightly different way than you would with your eyes, but you're seeing. If you're doing this for the first time, it's usually pretty exciting. Okay, now drop your hand back down, relax it for that way, and now look up again, turn around and see your fingers again. Just one more time. And then turn, and let's go back, and feel yourself going into your wrist and up your arm. Turning a little bit at the elbow, and going up to your right shoulder. Now one more time, look at your body, what it feels like from the right shoulder. It's off center. Feel it. Now continue from there, let go of the shoulder and keep moving up to your throat chakra. And you get to the throat chakra, Let go of that place and go all the way up your neck into your head. Now feel the skull and being in that space. It's a very distinct feeling. And make sure you turn so you're looking out where your eyes are. And then take off your mask.
Not feel when you touch my fingers together. I mean, when my eyes closed and I touch my fingers together, I still feel all this. You know, all my nerve endings on the outside. You know, when you say I'm in my mind and feel it feels in my mind, I still feel all this though, and it's hard to let go of that.
No, you don't have to let go of it. He's talking about that he could still feel his body. Okay. Do you remember when I had you flying the other day? You were flying around, and the school asked if you would also be aware of your body while you were flying around, purposely wanting to feel your body as well as flying. You can do both at once, and when you're doing these kinds of things, it's okay to be aware of your body or any discomfort or anything else like that. If you feel discomfort, you just change your position, but that shouldn't stop you. This is a separate thing, and your body sensations and everything are still going to be there. If you leave your body and go literally out of your body and out of your sphere away, you won't feel your body anymore. You won't even know you have one. You'll be totally free of it. You're still connected to it and you can come back to it, but you'll be totally free of it. But as long as you're in your body and doing the kind of things we're talking about, you're going to be really aware of your body. Okay.
I'm sorry, Mary.
Yes.
I have a question. Is there something that can call to you that you can connect with and you can see all of these things and hear conversations and everything that's going on somewhere else?
Oh, sure. You can.
What is it that could call?
Mean call? Is pulling you to it?
Yes.
Oh, well, that could be varied. I don't know. I mean, it could
when
be.
my mom was in the hospital in Arkansas and I was in California,
Sure.
I saw everything there and I heard conversations and the nurses and all of that. And I didn't think it was real. But it was real.
You can prove these things. When I was studying this long time ago, 50 years ago, we did things to prove it. So when you what do you call astral project out of your body, I was doing things like I would have my wife go into another room and set cards on a table, and then I would leave my body and go see what they were and come back and write them down. And it was right, but I was still not convinced. And I remember we did all kinds of things. One of the things I did, I finally would leave my body and go down. I went down to the local library and pulled a book off the shelf that I'd never seen before and memorized the ISBN number and the name of the book. And then came back to my body, went down to the library, and the book was really there, and it really was the ISBN number. It was very convincing. And so you have to you have to mix reality with this other level of potential, and you get to the place after a while where you know that you can tell the difference between when you're just imagining something and when it's real. And I can't say for sure what you experienced was real or not, but I've had so many experiences like this that now I can tell, usually. I might make mistakes sometimes, but usually I can tell. Okay, yes?
If you have something like, an out-of-body experience, do you think our body could be occupied with another entity or?
No.
No? There's no danger?
No, it's not like using drugs and things that you basically on drugs, you just invite them in. You just let them come in. You don't care. There's a natural defense the human body, and the natural defense will not allow it. If you use your Merkaba field, which I've asked you to block the possibility of that, there's absolutely not even a chance of it.
So do we have to give intent for protection or no?
Do you have
don't
to
use it, I mean.
Do you have to use what?
Intention.
Oh yeah. Well, naturally no, but we have a natural defense against that kind of thing. But under certain conditions, with drugs, and there are other things besides drugs that can do it, we basically say, oh, somebody comes and says, can I get in? And you're just saying, yeah, sure, we don't care. And you let it. But if you're just a normal person and you are leaving your body in this kind of way, your body's totally protected while it's gone. But there are always exceptions in the sense that you may allow it for some reason. There are no fixed laws, hardly. There's exceptions to almost everything. And so it's hard for me to say absolutely yes for sure, because I know there's, under certain conditions and certain things may be a little different. But generally, no, you don't have to worry about it. But I can say one thing, that if you put the intention into your Merkaba field to block anyone from coming in to your body or even your field, I block the whole field, when it comes to that, so that any kind of these entities or even living beings or anything else that are out there that want to come in, they can't come in without permission. If you do that, it's absolute. Because when we created the universe, we created it through the geometries of the Merkaba field. And the Merkaba field was the doorway in and out. So that when you create a universe, you want to go in and experience it, but you want to make sure that you can get back out of there and you haven't created a trap. And so that's what the knowledge of the creation fields and what through the Merkaba, what we're doing here. Once you program that once it's programmed that you're not allowing anyone else to use this, for example, then it's absolute. There is no person on earth or in existence, no matter how intelligent or how powerful they are or who they are, they still can't do it. And that was created that way on purpose. So that when you come in, you can always go out.
I have the feeling that every time I kind of imagine it myself, and then when I think that I'm imagining it myself and I'm not really doing it, I'm just totally back in my head. And
I know. It takes a long time to know the difference. And over a long time you can tell the difference when something's just imagination or if you're actually real. It's, I don't know how to say it. It's like, the only way I can do it is through experiences I've had. It's like, I was once, let me give this one, I was once asked by, I mentioned that I went to the Navajo and they took us into the Antelope Canyon. Remember I talked about the snake on the side and the guy that was blind and all that stuff like that? After I did that, and we got back and he dropped us all off, then we went on to the thing, to the rest of this journey. And we ended up at the Grand Canyon, on the rim of the Grand Canyon. And I was about to do a ceremony, a very old ceremony, having to do with grandmothers. And it doesn't matter what the ceremony was too much, but we were about to do a ceremony. And I went out into the forest by myself. Actually, there was 2 other people. They came in, and then I asked them to go get something. And while they were gone, I was by myself. And I was setting everything up. And this person, again, I don't want to mention his name, but the Navajo shaman that was blind, he appeared to me in front of me, and he said, that he didn't like the idea of a white man doing indigenous people's ceremonies. And he said he didn't think that I had the right to do that. And I said to him, well, I am indigenous from my last life, and I have permission to do this. And we went through this whole thing on that. And he said to me, okay, if it's true that you really are who you say you are, and that you have the right to do this, then when you begin this, the moment that you begin this ceremony, I want lightning to come out of the sky and strike right a few feet away from here. And if that happens, then I will believe you. And so I said, okay. And so is this imagination going on? What is this? Okay. And then all the people were called in. Everything was set up. The grandmother was sitting there. It was a gift ceremony, and the first person came up, and we were all ready to go. And I said, okay, let's begin. And the grandmother said a couple words. The guy took his object that he was giving away, and he started to hand it to the grandmother, and lightning came out of the sky and struck the ground about 75 feet away. Just blew a hole about 6 feet around in the ground. And practically everybody bounced off the ground like this, and everybody started screaming and everything else like that. And I started laughing. I couldn't help it. I just... And so during that ceremony, when we were in the Antelope Canyon, this shaman borrowed my rattle, and borrowed a rattle, and he was, which was from another indigenous person that happened to be in the tribe, and he sang the peyote songs using that rattle. And so right after the lightning struck, he appeared not to me, but to this other indigenous person, and told her to go to me right after the ceremony and give me the rattle and say to me that he accepts what I had, that who I am, or my relationship with him. I've got a very close relationship now. And so the indigenous person that didn't know any of this stuff came up and says, this shaman came to me and said, I'm supposed to give you the rattle, and here it is. Well, is this imagination? I mean, there's a fine line between these things. And you need to get sensitivity, because there is another world. We are all connected. We're connected. We are not separate from the outer reality. The outer reality is, we're intimately connected with it. And once you know it, and you know what that feeling is and what it all is, and the relationships of it, what feels like imagination can become real. And so it just takes time. But there's nothing I can do to convince you. It's just something that has to develop slowly over time within you, till you can see that we are much more than we know we are. We're a lot more than we know we are, and you just have to trust it. Okay. Let's go further. Put on your mask one more time. I'd like to go, this time, to your heart. We're not going to go into the sacred space of the heart. That takes a little bit more understanding. But I'd like to go to the heart itself, the physical heart. And all we're going to do is go inside of it, somewhere. And I just want you to feel what it feels like to be in the heart relative to what it feels like to be in the brain. They're really, really different. The brain is really male. The heart is really female. Okay, here we go. Again, feel your prana field. Feel your sphere of prana. Breathe. Center yourself. Feel the skull for a moment. again, that feeling of what it's like to be in there. Now let go of that and go down to your throat chakra and stop there for just a moment. This is your third time, so it's starting to get familiar. And now let go of your heart and feel yourself going down inside your chest and your cavity, and keep moving until you can see or sense or feel your physical heart right in front of you. And when you do, stop for just a moment and just see it right there. Okay, now go right through the membrane of the heart and go inside, right, somewhere in the middle or in the center of your heart. And now feel what it feels like to be in there. It's a very female, curvy, soft place. It's beautiful. And if you look at your body, your head is way up there, and you're slightly off center. It's a different location. But I'm primarily getting you to feel what it feels like just to be in the heart, which is different than anywhere else in the body. So you feel the heart all around you. Okay, now let go. And it's kind of hard. It's like hugging someone when you just realize they're sacred. Let go of your heart and turn and go through the membrane of your heart and move back, up, up, up until you come to your throat chakra. You just wait there for a moment because we all move at slightly different speeds. Okay, now let go of the throat chakra and move all the way up inside your brain. And one more time, feel the skull, how different that is than the heart. It's not contained. I mean, this is contained where the heart is just open. Okay, take off your mask now. Could everybody do that? Is there anybody who could not do that? I have to look. I have to shade my eyes to be able to see if I... Okay, so everybody could do that. Okay, good. This last little thing is that there's different ways of getting into the heart, and I want to describe these different ways and then tell you which way we're going to use. The Kogi way was the one I mentioned. I mentioned it here, I think, a long time ago. I don't know, I've done this workshop so many times. When I left the Kogi, and they found out that I was going to do this, which they didn't think that human beings would be able to do this. They really didn't, not initially. That's why they told me just go to animals. It's much easier. And when I told them that I was going to teach human beings this, they said, well, okay, well, here's how you do it. And they gave me their instructions. And that's when I figured, well, there's nobody, I told you, they want you to stand up in a totally dark space where there's no light, not even one photon coming in. And you do this little dance. You just keep moving kind of like this. If you watch them, they just keep moving from one leg to the next, and they just keep moving around and doing this. And you're to do that dance for 9 days and 9 nights without any food or water or sleep. And that's when I told them, I says, you don't know who we are. In fact, I don't think you have any idea. And they really didn't. They didn't know who we were. We were like aliens. We were like ETs on the planet. Because even when I brought the Kogi here to Sedona, one of the old mamas, and he's got, I don't know how many people were there. It was lots. It was really lots. And first thing he says is, how come you guys are so stupid that you would kill your own planet? You know, how could you be, who are you that you're so stupid that you would kill the very thing, that, your mother that keeps you alive? I mean, because they just don't get it. They just don't understand how anybody would even have anything in you that would do that anywhere. You know, and I agree with them. You know, why would we do this? You know, it's just crazy, but we are. We're unconsciously and consciously, a lot of the stuff, it's just pure greed. We don't care. You know, it's tear down a park and build a parking lot. You know, that whole thing. It's why would we do this? So he was very upset with us. I'll tell you another little story. They told me at one point, there was 4 of them, and they said, we need to get out of here. It's basically, in so many words, can you take us into nature somewhere? And I said, sure. So I took them way up in a canyon that I know that's kind of secret and hidden, and sat there, and they were so much happier, you know, and they were just sitting around and singing songs and things, and then at one point, a little bird came and landed on one of the mamas. He looks over at the bird, and the bird goes chirps, chirp, 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 and stuff like that. And he goes, the bird just says that we got to get out of here tomorrow. Really? And they said, this whole thing's going to get weird, so we better leave. And the bird goes chirp, chirp, chirp. And he goes, yeah, he's serious, so we got to go. And they did. They left first thing in the morning, and that afternoon was when this ceremony that the people were doing just went insane and went crazy. And I saw exactly what they were doing. In fact, one time I was in Guatemala, and one of the Kogi was there. There was actually 4 of them, but one was Kogi Mamas. And he was sitting there, and I asked him, he was actually on film when he said this. I asked him, I was interviewing them, and I said, because we thought they came for the ceremony that the Mayans were doing, and that was the thing. And I asked him, though, the other one said yes, and I asked him, why'd you come here? And he said, I didn't have anything to do with that. I said, why'd you come here? And he says, I came here to see you. And, well, what do you want to see me for? And he says, well, when we were down in the Kogi land, we were sitting there, and lightning came across the sky from the north and then from the south, and it met in the sky and exploded, and the thunder talked to us and told us that you were going to be up here in Guatemala in this time, and we wanted to talk to you, so that's why I'm here. I mean, it's another world, because all this external stuff is inside of you. It's not external to you. You are the creator of it. And when you really understand that everything is alive and breathing, it's another world. Right now we think everything's dead. We think the earth is a big rock floating through space. She is not a rock. That's just her body. Anyway, so the Kogi way of doing this is not going to work, because we can't stand up for 9 days if our life depended on it. So I had to figure out some other way. And so the first way we did it, I'm just telling you these different ways so that if you ever want to continue this exploration yourself, you can at least see where I've been. This was the first way we chose. When I was thinking about it, well, how do I get in there? At HeartMath at Stanford, they discovered this field, and they also knew that the field was generated by the heart, not by something else. Well, I intuited that what was actually generating this was the sacred space of the heart, and now they agree with that now at this point. But and so I used this. What I could see was, there's a big one and then there's a little one. Well, the little one is right around here, and it's right around the heart. So I'd get people to go, leave the brain, go down, and go over to the heart, see where it is, and then go straight up, following the lines of the toroidal field, up to where that. And when you get above it, and you're in the psychic realm, you can see this thing rotating. Sometimes it's rotating one way with some people and sometimes the other way, and I don't know why. It doesn't seem to be connected to male or female. And so we would get them to simply go down and let their spirit touch the surface of this rotating toroidal field and vortex, actually. And when they do, they become like a leaf on a river that you just connect, and the river takes the leaf. And so they just start going around and around and around, but it's like water going down the drain. They go around, and it takes you right into the sacred space. It works every time. The only problem with this is that it's really easy for men to do it. It's hard for females. It's too logical. And so after that, I decided that I'm going to try some other ways. And another way that we tried was the way of Jesus. Jesus also had, and this was written in the Gnostics, in their writings and everything, but it got corrupted. Jesus said that the opening to the sacred place of the heart is behind the heart. Well, some of the people that were recording this probably corrupted it on purpose, because for about the last 2,000 years, so much spiritual knowledge that you read in books, they purposely lied because they didn't want to tell the truth. You know, they would tell everything the truth, but then the real big secret, they would distort it somehow, and then they'd tell all their people, well, it's all true but that, and you know what to do. But when it comes down through time, then it comes off as just isn't true. And so you have to be really careful. A lot of the stuff that's written spiritually, it just isn't actually accurate information. That happens in science too. We do the same thing. You make a patent, you tell everything about the patent, but you keep the secret out. The thing that actually makes it work, you hide it. And they do that in patents all the time. So if you take the patent out and you try to do it, darn thing won't work, you know, in the way that they want you to. So what Jesus did is you go, just like you did, you go down through, you go over to the heart so you can see or sense or feel it, then you turn so that it's on the right side of you, and you go back to the back of the heart. And you keep going until you're all the way to the back, and then you get back behind it until you can see or sense or feel it all in front of you. And then there's a vortex. There's a little tiny vortex. There's like a crevice that comes down, and it's kind of in the middle, approximately. And it's rotating, it's vortex. It'll usually come off as a light spot or a dark spot. And all you have to do is you just approach it. You just keep moving toward it, and when you get right up to it, it just pulls you in. It just sucks you right in. And it's a tube that you're only going a little ways, but it seems like you're going a long ways when you're in this. And this thing is, you're going down this tube, and it takes you down there. There's nothing you can do about it. It just pulls you down there. And then you're just moving, and then all of a sudden it just stops. And you're in the stillest place in the universe. You're in the most peaceful place there is, and you're in the center, and you're inside of the outer place of the sacred place of your heart. You're there. It works every single time. That one, I have discovered, works for both men and women. And so I use that one a lot. There is another one. Yeah, sure. You go say this. I don't have anything that looks like a heart. Oh well. Say this is the heart. Doesn't look like one. And it's sitting here. So you go down, and then you go over to it. Okay? So you're over to the heart. And now you want to go to the back. So you turn, which means it's on the right side of you. You turn and you go back. And you go back until you go back further, and you turn around, and then you look at the heart from behind. You're literally seeing it from back here like I am now. And that's when you can look and you'll see there's a fold and there's a little rotating vortex there. It's very small, but it's there. And all you have to do is just go to it. And it's like a vacuum cleaner. It sucks you right in. Not quite as hard as a vacuum cleaner would. Woo! No, it takes you in gently but powerfully, and you start moving down this tube. And you don't have to do anything. You just keep moving until you stop. And when you stop, you're there. And we can use that one today if we want that.
When we turn it around, do we come out from the heart and then enter again?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, when you leave it, well, just imagine your heart is here. You go down to the heart and you have to go over to it, and you're on this side. Then you have to go to the back and curve around to the back of it.
But I don't go out in the back.
No, you're not in the heart. You're on the outside of the heart. You go to the outside of the heart and go along the edge of the heart to the back, and then look at the full heart from the back. There you'll see the vortex, and then you approach it, and it pulls you into the heart. This is very, very old way. It's nothing new, but it works. There's another one that is pure female, and it works for females. It doesn't work for males very well. And that one is you just do the same thing. You go down to the heart till you see or sense it. You're right up there. There it is. You go inside of it, just like we did just a few minutes ago. Exactly the same thing. When you get inside of it, if you're female enough and you can do it, you just say, okay, I'm going to move, and the movement, with using your intention, I'm going to move, and the movement, I will move, and then when I get to the sacred place of the heart, I will stop. And you'll just start moving. Only when you're moving inside the heart, it feels like a big place. And you move, and then it'll just take you right to the sacred space. And again, you'll stop, and it's this really still place. It's like being in the eye of a hurricane or something. You got a lot of stuff going on around, but in that place, it's just still. It's peaceful.
It has a vibrating noise.
Yes, it'll be vibrating, and it'll be dark. It'll be black dark. And then you ask for, as soon as no matter what technique you use to get in there, when you get there, you ask for light, and then if the light, sometimes it'll come on like that, sometimes it won't, but whatever happens, once you've asked for light, you put that intention out. The next thing you do, you put your attention on the vibration, and hear or sense or feel that vibration. And once you feel the vibration, then begin to make the sound. And once you make the sound, and you're real familiar with what that sound is, for maybe 45 seconds or a minute, stop making the sound. And then start becoming aware, not of the vibration or anything else, just becoming aware of what's around you. Because what's around you is amazing. I mean, you came here from somewhere else at one point, and you... when you came here, before you came to Earth, you had a reason for coming to Earth. This is one point. You had a reason. You had a mission. It was really specific. And right now, most people don't remember what that is. And you knew you would come to a place where you wouldn't remember, so you wrote it down in your heart. And it's always in the outer space of the heart. It could be written right on the walls, actually. Or it could be in a language you don't understand, and then at the right moment, suddenly you can read the language. Or it could be inside of a crystal, and you hold it and you see everything. Or it could be, who knows, it could be anything. But you'll know what it is. But in there is recorded the reason why you came here and what your purpose was. The moment you remember what your purpose was for coming here, it changes your entire life's direction. You know why you're here. You know exactly what you're to do here. And it's a different thing. It's like, I know exactly what I'm to do here. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to teach the Merkaba. I have 3 things to do, and I'm doing those things. And so I know I'm fulfilling my purpose. And when you know it, who knows what that purpose is, but whatever it is, it changes things. There's also another thing that you have recorded in there, which seems kind of funny in a way, but we all have dreams, and specifically we have a dream that is the, you might say in English, our deepest heart's desire. That which we really want to see manifest. And it's usually very close to our mission and our purpose. And so it's also important to know what we really want in life. And so what's in our heart is everything we need on those kind of levels. But later we're going to talk about the creation aspects of things tomorrow and what's the power that is in there. That's another story. That's really something else. So I don't want to program you too much in terms of what's in there. I'm trying to save a little bit of time for you, but on the other hand, I would prefer that you discover what you are, who you are, and what is inside of your own heart, yourself, and find out for yourself, because it's fun, it's exciting, and it really changes everything in your life once you connect into this level of your existence. I'm only going to lead you into the outer space. If you find yourself in the center, in the tiny space, it's fine. But for those, most of you have not been in the space. You only have 51 that have, so we're at 70-something, 8 or something, 77 of them that haven't. When you find this place, I'll lead you through exactly, ask for light and the vibration. I'll lead you through this whole thing all the way through. But afterwards, I'm going to leave you there for about 25 minutes or 20 minutes or so for you just to explore and feel what it is. I'm not going to ask you to do anything in this one other than just to explore and become aware of the space and what it feels like and everything else like that. Tomorrow we're going to go back in this space with a little more intention and lead you into the tiny space also. Right now I just want to get you into the outer space. And but once we're past the point where you're feeling that vibration, you're making the sound, then I'm going to leave you. I have to say something because I never know what's going to happen. I have this relationship with the Kogi, and I just have to say this because I never know what they're going to do. And they used to come into these workshops every single time for years. And then they experimented with people. They did all kinds of things, which was kind of interesting because they were trying to figure out who you were. And they did things like one workshop they came in mass. I'd never seen that many. Actually, it was one person for every person in the room. And they came in, and then when you were deep in the meditation, they came up and they rubbed the right cheek of every person in the room simultaneously. And everyone went, ah! Stuff like that. Who's there? Stuff like that. I don't know why they did it. I mean, they do funny things. I can always tell if they come in before we do the meditation, I can always tell who can see, because when they come in, they usually come in through some wall, and if you get half the group going, wow, the other group going, what are you talking about? You can't see them, but and then they did for a long time, and then the guerrillas in Colombia killed the Mamos, machine gunned them down and killed them. That's like killing Jesus. They were really upset, and then they killed more. They killed up to about 50 or so Kogi and both Mamas and the regular ones, and that's when they quit coming for a while. They were trying to protect themselves, I think. They just quit for several years. And recently, about a year ago, they came back, unexpected. And then they came to 2 or 3 workshops, didn't come again for a while, came a couple more. And so I don't know. I just say, all I'm saying is I don't know if they're going to be here, and if they do, then I don't know what they're going to do either. But don't freak out. Don't scream too loud if they do something, because they're just playing. They will never do anything to hurt you or be deceptive to you in any way or anything. They're like children, really, on a lot of levels. Really, really smart children. And also Ima, who is actually an Awakos woman, I have a very close relationship with her. And sometimes when they do come in, she comes into me because we have this relationship, and she may speak to you in the language that has no words. What it does is it creates an image inside of you, and if that happens, it happens. It did about 3 or 4 months ago. You'll know it because when she makes those sounds, it is powerful. But I don't know if she will or not. I'm just trying to, if it happens, at least you know what's going on, kind of, rather than what's this and where are all these images coming from. Anyway, so there's that. Probably won't happen. I don't think so, but we don't know. And so I'll lead you through the whole thing. I'll lead you to the end, then I'm just going to let you go. And at the very end, just so you can get this clear in your head, I'm not going to ask you to come back from your heart to your brain. I'm just going to tell you, stay in your heart and just come back and open your eyes. And try to stay in your heart as long as you can. But what happens is the first time you think a thought almost, then you're back in your brain again. But stay as long as you can in your heart afterwards. Also, afterwards, I'm going to ask about 3 or 4 people that wish to, if you want to, raise your hand. If you want to talk about what just happened to you and you feel like you want to, raise your hand, wait till you get the talking stick, and then you can describe what happened in your experience. If nothing happened, there's no sense in telling people that. Doesn't help anybody. But if you did have an experience, and most people will, it'll be very, especially since we've already got 51 people that are in here that already know where it is. So. But anyway, if you want to speak after that, you can. And then after that, we'll be done. That's it for the day. And I don't even care what time it is when we get done, whenever time it is that we're done. And then tomorrow, so I can just tell you this now, because once we get into this, it's kind of hard to get back to talk like this. We will then give you all the information tomorrow of how to connect the heart and all the technical information so that you understand the whole procedure, all the way from the heart, through the tongue, all the way out through the various glands, and the whole thing, opening the third eye, and how that works, and how it's related to the Merkaba, and all that other stuff. That'll all be talked about. And then when we go and do this on the last, tomorrow, and I'd like to do this in nature if we could tomorrow, as long as everybody is okay with it. I got a really beautiful place to take you. You have to walk for about 25 minutes or so off the road. And then you got to walk up to the spot, which is about 6 blocks. But if you want to, we can drive you up to the spot, which will save you some walking, and we don't mind doing that. It's okay. But that would be it's beautiful. And there's a difference when you're trying to do this work with the earth and everything, when you're touching the earth and not synthetic surfaces and everything. It just works better. So the last one and the last day, we'll do that, and then we'll be done. You should have a really good idea by that time exactly what you're doing. Then you go home and you practice, and that's what it's all about. Okay, are you ready? Okay. Oh boy. It's my favorite thing in the world. So just get comfortable, move around, adjust yourself, do whatever you have to do, cough, all those kind of things. Just play like you're in your bedroom. Now remember your Merkaba, feel the flow to your heart chakra. And also be aware of the angel from the first day. Just feel them. It's you. And this part of you is really a protector. It really does protect you. Now we're going to begin by doing the unity breath. And just follow. We're going to connect with Mother Earth and Father Sky. Now in your inner vision, see and remember a place that a place in nature, somewhere in the world, that you've been to before, that you love. With no buildings or anything around, just nature. It could be the mountains, it could be the desert, the beach, the ocean, whatever. But begin to visualize this place. See it. Where there's a river, you see the river, clouds. Begin to see the whole structure. So continue to visualize this beautiful place. And also, bring in all your senses. Smell this place. Listen to the water. If there's water there, hear it. Now feel how you feel when you're there. Feel the love you have for this place in nature. And now begin to transfer that love that you feel for that place in nature to all of nature, to all of life on earth, and all the trees and animals and everything. And then go deeper and feel the love you have for Mother Earth, for Pachamama. And let this love grow. Feel it. Just let it open. Feel the love you have for her. She has given you everything. Everything you own. Every single thing you own. Including your body. She loves you. She has always loved you. And when you feel this love is strong, with your intention, send this love to the center of the earth, so that she can feel the love you have for her. And then you wait until you feel her love come back to you from inside the earth and come up inside of your body. When you feel her love come back to you, let it just go throughout all of your bodies, your physical body, your mental body, emotional body, your light body. Let it move anywhere it wants to go. Just feel it in your heart how much Mother Earth loves you and how you love her. And now, without breaking this connection to Mother Earth and this love, turn your attention to Father Sky, which is all the rest of creation other than the earth, which includes the moon, all the rest of creation. And perhaps look up into a night sky, and you see the Milky Way moving across the sky, and the planets, and the beauty, that is there. And feel the love that you have for all of creation and for all life everywhere. Your Divine Father has been very quiet because He's been letting you have free will and do as you wish. But He has loved you. There's never, ever been a time when the body of the universe has not loved you. And so when your love feels strong, with your intention, send it either to the grids or to the sun or to the central sun. Or even just with your intention, you can send it into space, because it is intention that is how life feels. And so let Him know that you love Him. And in the same way as your mother, you wait for this feeling of love from the heavens to come into you from above. When you feel this love come into your body like your mother, let it move through all of your bodies, your physical body, all your cells, all the levels, your emotional body, your mental body, your light body, your Merkaba, everything. And now, feel both of them at once. Feel your mother, Mother Earth, Father Sky, feel their love, feel how much they love you, feel how much you love them, and also feel the love that they have between each other. And in doing this, you have brought the Holy Trinity onto earth. And this relationship of this flow of love produces a vibration within your spirit. That is the key, not only to entering your heart, but many, many, many other levels of higher consciousness. So as you're feeling this love, bring your attention to the center of your head and to the pineal chakra, and feel the skull around you. And remember your physical body. And let go of that place and feel yourself moving down your throat to your throat chakra. And wait there one moment. Now let go of this place and move down into your chest and continue moving until you can see or sense or feel your physical heart directly in front of you. And now turn and go to the back of the heart. We're going to use the one that's been used for thousands of years by Jesus. Go to the back of the heart. Go a little bit further behind the heart and turn and face in the same direction that you normally look out of your body. And now you're behind the heart, looking directly in front of you is the back of the heart. There's a little crevice you can see, and in there is a little rotating spot. You may see it as a light rotating place. You may see it as a dark one. It doesn't matter. Begin to move toward that place. Feel yourself moving toward it, getting closer and closer and closer. And now just go right into it and just let it pull you. Don't try to resist it. Feel yourself moving down this tube. How long we move depends on a lot of factors. But eventually, you're going to come to this place where you stop and you'll feel the stillness of this place. And you're there. Just trust it. If you wish there to be light, ask for there to be light. Again, it may or may not come immediately. And now turn your attention, whether you see the light or not, turn your attention to sensing the vibration. It's all around you. You can feel it, you can hear it, sense it, any way that you can connect to it. And when you do hear it or sense what the vibration is, begin to make the sound that you're hearing by humming. try to duplicate it as close as possible. And then after a minute or so, let go of that and begin to explore and be just like a little child and have fun. I'll be back later. Is there anyone who would like to speak about their experience? It's over here.
First, I found myself going into the vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
I was pulled in it. I found myself in nature, and immediately I knew, I think it was Lemuria, or I recognized it somehow, I don't know. I was feeling free.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden I found myself in front of a temple, but I was not allowed to get in first. There was somebody waiting outside. Then I hugged that person, and all of a sudden I was pulled up. I flew up. There was another temple there. It was a temple. Seemed like a marble, made of marble. And there was a platform there. It seems like there were beings, but I didn't know who they were. They were very close to me. I asked the question, I want to see why I am here. So I saw a writing, a small writing, to remember who you are. I didn't expect that. I expected something else, but it was different, to remember who you are. I stayed there for a while, and then another vacuum just pulled me. I just saw some vibrations. That was it, vibrations. Just vibrations, and it was a point where everything was inside. I mean, where everything was one. And I think it was the point of creation. I knew that I could create anything I want, and it would be coming easily to me. Just vibrations, and that's all.
Okay. Thank you.
I reached a place, it's a cave. It feels like it's a cave on the moon. But the roof of the cave is all the stars. It's the black night with all the stars. And the next thing I knew, I was flying to Angel Falls. And that's in South America. And as I was guided through the water into a cave behind the falls, and taken deep into the cave, there was a pond, a very dark pond. And I was guided to jump in that pond. And as I jumped into it, I went like a birth canal going deep, deep, deep into the earth. And I came to a place that was pitch black, black like I've never felt or seen before. And I was in that darkness for a long time, until all of a sudden, these eyes started to open up. And I said, "Mama." And she said, "Welcome, my daughter." And then all these eyes started opening. And all I could see was the white and the darkness, the middle of the eye. Many eyes were opening. And as I was looking and seeing all these beings around me with their eyes open, you were telling us to come back. But it was amazing. I felt very much at home in my mother's womb.
Thank you.
when I entered the back of the heart and started going inside, a face came in front of me that looked like an Aborigine person, and then it just kind of stared me in the eye and then left. And then another face came, and it was Drunvalo, and he was like much more formed than the first one, and just stared at me, and then he left. And then I'm walking and everything is kind of moving, and then there's a whole field of flowers, and I went to go pick one of them, and I went to pick it, and I could smell it, and I was excited about being able to smell the flower, so I wanted to smell all of the flowers in the field, but I didn't. The smell all came at once, and I could smell the whole field at once. And then that all disappeared, and an opening of the cave was in front of me, and there was lightning on the outside of it that I could see, but I walked and that went, and then there was a triangle, and I sat inside of it, and there was amethyst on one side, crystals, and on the right was citrines, and in front were rose quartz crystals, and I sat inside of it, and I just sat there and stayed there until you said to come back. It was hard to come back, but
yeah. Okay. One more person, and then.
It was very easy to see the vortex of light when you invited to see that, to enter. And when I got in, it was very light actually, and I saw myself in this tunnel, and the walls was made like the Inca walls, very perfect, beautiful, without just a huge stone without any break. And so I started to walk, and suddenly I got in a chamber that was all made by crystals, and there was pyramids, and was the most clear and vibrant crystals I ever felt. And then I sat in a mandala made by crystals, and was interesting because I was sitting and I knew there was a lot of points, the crystals was pointed, but I was sitting on it, and then suddenly I saw you in my back with this huge mask, like an Aztec warrior. And I said, this is strange. I didn't know that was supposed to be anybody here with me. And then suddenly in each point of the mandala, there was you with different masks. And the one that was in front of me was very ancient. And then you said to me, because you knew I was asking, what does this mean? And so you said, I'm a Melchizedek. I'm all of them and none of them. And then you start to tell me all about how the shift will happen. I don't remember anything, but you was telling me exactly how everything is going to happen. And I was paying attention, like I had to learn those things so I would follow the instructions as they was happening. But I'm back and I don't remember. Sorry. I wish I could.
Okay. Well, it is a dream. It is a dream state. It's a state that generates images. The images can be anything. There are no rules, but they are tied. There's more. There's much to these images. It's going to take a while to. I need time tomorrow to explain more about what the images mean and what their potential are. At any rate, we have finished this first day, and tomorrow is where everything comes together. All the various days that we've done, it all comes together in this one day tomorrow. So tomorrow is the most important day of all, and where we will tie everything together, all these beams of light and the stuff in the heart and the Merkaba field and the whole thing, and how you create from the heart and how you do this, and then we will do one final meditation, at which point it's everything you need. And anything that you do need after that, you will know exactly how to get to it. I'll explain. You can come up with whatever form of guidance or anything that you need in your, from now on, you should be able to get within yourself. If you need anyone else, well then you can achieve that also. But you'll know, you'll have everything you need, as far as I know, in order to continue all the way from there to the next level of existence. So, thank you. Good evening. And I love you. I just, and even if you're a little confused right now, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. So, tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Thank you. You have completed day 4. Now we can go on to day 5. It's a day called Tantra of the Heart.